June 19, 1962. Backstage at Madison Square Garden. The letter in Marilyn Monroe's hand was trembling. Those lines, up until now, would change not only that night but the end itself. When the door was knocked, it was already too late. June 19, 1962. The backstage corridors of Madison Square Garden were filled with dust, sweat, and expensive perfumes. 2 guards were stationed at the door of Marilyn Monroe's dressing room. Inside, the most desired woman in the world was looking at herself in the mirror, but she could not recognize her own face. Only 45 minutes later, she would step onto the stage and sing "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" for President John F. Kennedy. 15,000 people would watch her. Millions would watch on television. That dress, that voice, that smile. Everyone was waiting. But Marilyn had a letter in her hand, a white envelope. On it, written by hand, was only the letter M, no postal stamp. It had arrived by courier. She knew who it was from, and that was why she was afraid to open it. Makeup artist Pat Newcomb knocked on the door. "Marilyn, 40 minutes left. We need to finish your hair." Marilyn did not answer. She turned the envelope in her hands. It was light, maybe only 1 page, but some pages are enough to kill a person. "Marilyn?" Pat called again. 2 minutes, Marilyn said. Her voice was shaking. Pat's footsteps moved away. Marilyn opened the envelope. The single page inside was the longest page of her life. She had not yet seen what was written, but whatever was inside would erase the light in her eyes when she stepped onto the stage. The letter was handwritten, a familiar handwriting, from the pen of Bobby Kennedy. "Marilyn, I wish this letter did not have to reach you, but I have no other choice. Your phones are being tapped. Men are stationed near your place. I have to take this risk. After today's birthday performance, all communication with Jack must be cut. It is no longer sustainable. The FBI has files. Hoover is collecting information. The press is suspicious. We tried to protect you, didn't we? But Marilyn, we cannot protect you. We could not. And from now on we will not. You are a responsibility now. Do you understand? A commitment. Jack's career, our family's future, even the country's economy depends on silence. And lately, you have been talking too much. To your doctors, to observers, to journalists. This birthday song will be our final show. Smile for the cameras. Be the Marilyn they love. Then disappear. If you speak, we will destroy you. Not only your career, but your sanity. No one will believe you. Because who are you anyway? Norma Jean, a poor madness game. You were a fantasy. Now it's over. This letter was never written. This conversation never happened." Marilyn read the letter again and again. The words blurred before her eyes. She trembled. The paper fell to the floor. That word. That damn word. She had been in a secret relationship with Jack Kennedy for 3 years. Not really secret. Hollywood knew. Frank Sinatra knew, Peter Lawford knew, but no one talked, because that was how the game was played. Marilyn had always known the odds of the game. The studios used her, producers used her, directors used her, and now the president had used her. But this letter was different. This was not just being used. This was not a threat to negotiate. This was being discarded. When Pat Newcomb knocked again, Marilyn's exterior had changed. There was no longer a frightened woman there. Something else had taken her place. Anger, despair, or both. "Marilyn, please, 25 minutes left." Pat opened the door. Marilyn was still sitting in the chair, frozen. Pat entered and saw the paper on the floor. She bent down, picked it up, and began to read. Her face turned white. "Marilyn, but, is this real?" Marilyn lifted her head. Her eyes were red, but there were no tears. She hadn't cried. She couldn't. "It's real," she said. "Everything is real. The relationship was real. The promises were real. And now this threat is real." Pat held the letter with trembling hands. "What are you going to do?" Marilyn stood up and looked at the mirror. That famous platinum blonde hair, those red lips, perfect 10. Marilyn Monroe, the most beautiful woman in the world. But in the mirror, she saw Norma Jean, the little girl who grew up in orphanages, a child who lived in 9 different foster homes. The young girl mocked as the ugly duckling. "I'm going on stage," Marilyn said. Pat protested. "But I'm going on stage," Marilyn said more firmly, "because that's what they expect from me. The president expects it. 15,000 people expect it. The world expects it. And I have always followed expectations, haven't I?" There was a crack between her voice and her smile. She was smiling, but her voice was anger, pain, broken. Pat stepped closer. "Marilyn, we need to keep this letter. We should show it to your lawyer. This threat, this is nothing," Marilyn said. She took the letter and pulled out her lighter. In one motion, she set it on fire. The paper burned, darkened, disappeared. "Marilyn, are you crazy?" "I'm destroying evidence," Marilyn said calmly, "because Bobby is right. This letter was never written. This conversation never happened. and Marilyn Monroe will sing a birthday song for the president tonight. It will be perfect, enchanting, and everyone will applaud. She dropped the ashes into the trash can. Then she turned back to the mirror. Now fix my hair. I don't want to disappoint the world. Pat noticed something while Marilyn was getting ready that night. Marilyn's expression had changed. It wasn't just the makeup. The light in her eyes had gone out. Normally, before going on stage, Marilyn felt nervous, but this was a different tension. In previous performances she worried, will they love me? Now there was another question in her eyes. Was it worth it? When Marilyn stepped onto the stage at Madison Square Garden that night, no one knew. Under that dress was a broken heart. Behind that smile a great lie, and inside that song a silent farewell. 9:47 p.m. The lights dimmed. 15,000 people held their breath. Ladies and gentlemen, Marilyn Monroe. The curtain opened, and there she stood. That dress. It would become one of the most photographed dresses in history. Designed by Jean Louis, sewn with 2,500 crystals, transparent, flesh-colored. The dress was so tight it had to be sewn onto her body. But that night, even the dress didn't matter. Her body was on autopilot. She walked to the microphone. She smiled. The most famous smile in the world. But tonight, that smile was a weapon, and the song began. Happy birthday to you. Her voice echoed, velvet-like, seductive, slow. Every word was a breath. Every breath was pain. Happy birthday to you. President John F. Kennedy sat in the front row, smiling, applauding. His wife Jackie was not there. A political excuse. Everyone knew the truth. Marilyn locked her eyes on him and continued singing, Happy birthday, Mr. President. But those were not the words in Marilyn's mind. You are a responsibility. 1. Disappear. The song ended. The arena erupted. Applause thundered. People shouted. The president laughed. Cameras flashed. Marilyn left the stage. But when she reached the dark corridor, she stopped. She leaned against the wall. And finally the first tears fell. Pat ran to her. You were magnificent. Incredible. Marilyn lifted her head. I was a lie, she said. I always was. Marilyn would never speak to President Kennedy again after that night. She would not answer his calls. She would not open his letters. But the real separation had only just begun. June 20th, 1962. The next day, Marilyn returned to her home in Los Angeles, her small Spanish-style house in Brentwood, the house where she lived alone. The phone rang constantly. Journalists wanted interviews. New agencies offered projects. But Marilyn did not answer any of them. She was waiting for one call, from Jack. Waiting for him to say, Bobby's letter was wrong. Waiting for him to say, I love you. The phone never rang. Days passed. Marilyn did not sleep. She did not eat. She only swallowed sleeping pills and looked at old photographs. There was one photo, from 1961, at the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport. She was sitting on Jack's lap, an unofficial moment. She had believed it was real. How stupid I was, she whispered to herself. In early July, Bobby Kennedy contacted her again, but this time not by phone. He came in person. He knocked on the door of Marilyn's house. When Marilyn opened the door and saw Bobby, her heart nearly stopped. Just a few minutes, Bobby said. He was not smiling. This was an official visit. He went inside and sat down. Marilyn left the door open. She was afraid. Marilyn, there will be a press conference soon, Bobby said. If questions come about you and Jack, you need to know what to say. The truth, Marilyn said coldly. I will tell the truth. Bobby's face tightened. Marilyn, be careful. You are playing a dangerous game. A game. Marilyn's voice rose. Is my life a game to you? You chose this life, Bobby said harshly. You chose Hollywood. You chose fame. And you knew you had problems. Marilyn closed her eyes. Tears came, but she did not let them fall. Go, she said. Please go. Bobby paused at the door. Then he turned back and said one last thing. If you speak, Marilyn, we will have you declared ill. We will say you are crazy. No one will believe you. Do you understand? The door closed. Marilyn was alone. That night, it was believed Marilyn attempted suicide for the first time. But Marilyn was not done yet. That visit by Bobby would not be the last. And 8 weeks later, on an August night, her door would be knocked on for the final time. July and August were nightmares for Marilyn. She was changing sleep medications. She swallowed 30-40 Nembutal pills a day. Her doctors warned her, but she did not listen. How else am I supposed to sleep, she asked. When I close my eyes, I see him. He smiles at me. He tells me he used me. Her psychiatrist, Dr. Greenson, did not understand. Marilyn's condition worsened. Paranoia, delusions, panic attacks. One day Marilyn said, someone is following me. The phones are tapped. Cars are waiting outside. Marilyn, this is paranoia, Dr. Greenson said. No, Marilyn shouted. Bobby told me. The FBI is collecting files. Hoover is watching me. This is real. And she was right. There really was an FBI file. Hoover really was listening. But she could not prove it. In early August, Marilyn made a decision. She would speak to the press. She called a journalist friend she trusted, Sidney Skolsky. Sidney, I need to talk to you. I will tell everything. Jack, Bobby, the threats, everything. Sydney hesitated. Marilyn, are you sure? This will destroy you. I'm already destroyed, Marilyn said. But at least I'll tell the truth. The interview was planned for August 6, but Marilyn died on August 5. She knew what they wanted, but she opened the door, because there was nothing left to be afraid of. August 4, 1962. Saturday. Marilyn's house in Brentwood. She received a few calls during the day. Peter Lawford called and invited her to a party. No, Marilyn said, I'm very tired. Dr. Greenson came and spoke with her. How are you feeling? I'm fine, Marilyn said. She wasn't. At 7 p.m., her housekeeper Eunice Murray returned home. Marilyn was in her bedroom. The door was closed. Good night, Mrs. Murray, Marilyn said. I'm going to bed early. Good night, Marilyn. At 10 p.m. the phone rang. Marilyn answered. It was known who it was. The conversation lasted 15 minutes. Eunice heard Marilyn's voice through the door. It was raised. No, you can't do this. I will talk. I will tell the truth. Then silence. At 10:30 p.m. there was a knock at the door. Eunice opened it. 2 men, in suits, men she did not recognize. We need to see Miss Monroe. She's sleeping, Eunice said. Wake her up. Eunice was frightened, but there was nothing she could do. She knocked on Marilyn's door. Marilyn, you have visitors. The door opened. Marilyn's appearance was disheveled. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were red. I knew you would come, she said. You always come. The men went inside. The door closed. Eunice waited in the hallway. She heard voices inside. Marilyn's voice. Men's voices. Arguing. Shouting. Then silence. 30 minutes later, the men came out. They looked at Eunice. Miss Monroe is resting. Do not disturb her. They left. Eunice knocked on the door. Marilyn. No answer. Marilyn. Are you okay? Silence. Eunice did not go inside. She waited. She could not sleep all night. After midnight, there was no light under Marilyn's door, and when the phone rang again, no one answered. No answer. She tried the handle. It was locked. She ran to the window and looked inside. Marilyn was lying on the bed, motionless, the phone receiver in her hand, empty pill bottles on the floor. No, Eunice screamed. Dr. Greenson and the police were called. The door was broken down. Marilyn Monroe was dead. Official report, suicide, barbiturate overdose. Truth, no one knows. On the morning of August 5th, the world was in shock. Marilyn Monroe is dead. Newspapers ran the headline. Television announced it. The world cried, but some people remained silent. Bobby Kennedy made no statement. President Kennedy was on vacation. A sad news, he said. Nothing more. Follow the FBI. And no official record was ever made of what happened in Marilyn's house that night. But some people spoke. Peter Lawford said Marilyn told him on the phone, say goodbye to everyone. Eunice Murray said there were other people in the house that night, but she could not remember who they were. Dr. Greenson said Marilyn was fragile but did not appear especially suicidal that night. The autopsy report had inconsistencies. No barbiturates in the stomach, but present in the blood. How was that possible? Questions were asked, answers were not given, because some truths are buried, some secrets are protected, and Marilyn Monroe did not just lose her life that night. She lost her truth, but one thing remained. The letter had been burned, but Pat Newcomb came forward, and in a 1994 interview she said this, I don't know if Marilyn died that night, but I know she died the moment she read that letter, because when a person realizes the one they love sees them as a liability, the soul dies, the body just follows. Today, 60 years later, Marilyn Monroe's death is still debated. Suicide, murder, accident, but maybe the real question should be this, who killed Marilyn Monroe? The drugs, the system that used her, the studios, the producers, the presidents, or a society afraid of the truth? Marilyn Monroe died at 36, but she died much earlier. The moment she read that letter, the moment she learned she was worthless, a fantasy, a toy, a liability, that was the moment she died, and none of us saved her, because we were all there, we were applauding, we wanted her smile, we wanted her to sing, but we did not want to see her pain. On Marilyn Monroe's gravestone it says, Marilyn Monroe 1926 thus 1962, but that is not what should be written there. What should be written is this, Norma Jean, they spoke to you, but they only loved Marilyn. Rest in peace, you no longer have to smile for anyone. Perhaps the most tragic truth is this, when Marilyn Monroe died, the world cried, but while she was alive, no one saw her tears.